We done by the time.
Okay.
Got me a shit out.
I just went straight to the scene instead of the intro. I'm smart. It's been a long day. Bruce, this is my second day of classes. It's a long day, and I'm going to be up till 3 a.m. So my mind is a little scattered.
How about that intro?
Good intro. Good intro, Chad.
They just heard me just legit go, I'm going to wing the shit out of this. But what else do we do?
Yeah, what do we always do. What I don't know what else the people are expecting at this point.
Before, sir.
Well, I have to pour. I have lemonade.
Oh, I'm sure it's lemonade.
And to everybody watching, I have my hood up. I'm still a sad boy. So this is probably going to be and I love Ray, who's coming on at 7:30. Cheers. So this is probably going to be the most animated you will have ever seen me in an hour show. So prepare yourselves.
Before we start with MJ's deservedly so rant
losing
about
my mind,
about the Green Bay Packers. By the way, your texts were great this past weekend. I will say, we'll talk real quick about my week so far, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
So, great news to those of you that already do know this or don't know this. I coach basketball at a high school, and it's great. It's good stuff. I love it. Great news is the IHSA decided that we're having a season now.
Fantastic news.
Honestly, I love it. I'm totally looking forward to it. I'm pumped. Every time I enter into the gym, the first thing I say is basically the same thing I said on the baseball field. Let's go. I'm a very loud, boisterous, annoying way of saying it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it any other way. But the thing is, our schedule, MJ.
Interesting schedule.
Our schedule is absolutely slammed. There's a time frame during the course of that week, a week in February, that I have 4 games in 6 days.
Easy. I don't see an issue with that.
And then so we're trying to do that. We're trying to, working a full-time job, doing this.
Which, we once in a while we put some work into it.
Right, exactly. That deserves some juice.
Yeah.
Man, let me tell you though, my beautiful fiance did say this too. If there is someone that could do it, it's me, and she's not wrong.
And because you did say the other day you thrive on the adrenaline, the pressure,
the chaos. I am a stubborn SOB. I am my mother's son, and I will be stubborn to the core. And I'm looking forward to a successful basketball season. I did tweet out, if you get a chance, guys, and you're not following me, I did tweet out some of our guys. I'm telling you right now, we got some hardcore good basketball players on our varsity level. So some dunkers. Every senior can dunk aside from one, but it's okay. The kid can shoot though. No, honestly, the kid can shoot lights out, so I'm cool with it. But anyway, so that's what's going on in my life, my world. I got some good juice. I have a puppy whimpering over here. We have no show intro tonight.
No, not at all.
Shit's already off the freaking rails. We don't know what the hell.
If you really want me to, I can run it now.
The Bears are going to get Deshaun Watson.
Okay, let's slow your roll.
Aaron Rodgers is going to leave the Packers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, that said,
don't start me off pissed off.
That is a great transition to let us know how you are feeling, MJ, about the Green Bay Packers again. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, wasting another year of Aaron Rodgers' greatness. And yes, I'm going to say greatness again. MJ, the floor is yours. Rant away. Let's hear that shit.
So, oh gosh,
That so was very anticlimactic after I set it up. I put out a tea for you, dog, and you're just like, wah, wah.
I had to set up my screens so that I can look. Okay, listen up here, folks. First of all, before I get going, we just hit 50 followers, Bruce.
Let's go. 51.
51.
Let's go.
Means
free
after
t-shirt.
Tonight, we will not only give away free t-shirts, we are now affiliated on Twitch. And next show, people will be able to start subscribing.
Oh, snap.
And not only can we do our ads with Discover Peoria, we can run actual ads.
Look at that.
So
Are we?
although it is a sad week for me as a Green Bay Packers fan, it is a happy day because we are now affiliated on Twitch.
We
So
are
cheers,
affiliated on
Bruce.
Twitch. Cheers, MJ.
Okay, now that we got the happy crap out of the way,
The happy crap. That's some
okay,
bullshit.
it's Hoodie MJ time. First of all, I will preface all of this by saying I am very happy. As a Green Bay Packers fan, I got to watch more football of my team than most fans were able to watch this year. That is always a good thing. I remember very vividly when I was 7 years old, the NFC Championship game the Packers lost to the New York Giants. That was the only time I've ever cried over a sporting event that I was not related to myself.
You little bitch.
Exactly. I was 7 years old. I remember crying in my room. My dad came in and basically yelled at me. And if you know my father, he is not a yelling man. He is not a loud man. And he basically came in and yelled at me and said, "You have nothing to do with this game. You have nothing to do with the Green Bay Packers. You're 7 years old. Basically, get over it." And from that day on, I've never cried over a Packers game.
Great job, Mr. Hurley.
Exactly. So I preface all of this by saying I was very happy to be able to watch 2 more games than most NFL fans were able to watch of their team this year. So, with all of that in mind, what the Green Bay Packers did on Sunday was absolutely atrocious. It was the most embarrassing thing that I have seen as a Packers fan. And keep in mind, we have lost 4 NFC Championship games in the last decade, and I am labeling this as the most embarrassing one.
You lost to the GOAT, though.
On a side note, I've been like basically using TikTok to gain followers just solely off of pissing off little boys who are in love with Tom Brady, and it's made me so happy.
And girls.
No, legitimately, I've not had a single girl comment. If there was, I would have said people.
Whatever.
But yeah, you're right. But yeah, that's the side note. If you ever want to get views on TikTok, just make fun of Tom Brady or just, use statistics.
Make fun of anything on TikTok and you'll get people disagreeing
Honestly,
with you.
you're right. But yeah, so whether or not, you think Tom Brady is the GOAT, let's just take Tom Brady's name off of it. I don't even care who the quarterback is. When the opposing quarterback throws 3 interceptions and you go 3 and out immediately twice after 2 of those, you are not going to win that football game.
No.
Add on top of that an interception by Aaron Rodgers, and I'll get to the penalties later. I will get to those later. We're gonna do all of this today. Okay? That interception by Aaron Rodgers, they didn't call it. That was the ref's decision. Like I said, we'll get to that later. An interception by Aaron Rodgers, a fumble by Aaron Jones. If that's the last play of Aaron Jones's career as a Packer, I loved him. It was a joy watching him. I really hope he comes back. I think they'll be okay if he doesn't come back. I think A.J. Dillon will be able to take that load. But obviously, you don't want to lose a player of Aaron Jones' caliber. That really set us back, not having Aaron Jones in the game. I mean, I'll give Whitehead credit. Twice, he just obliterated Jones and made him fumble. The first time, Tunyon fell on it, luckily. The second time...
That you know what though, that Buccaneers defense is no joke.
It's not. It's not at all. And I mean, I will go back. I did not think they were as impressive as they are, and they played up to the moment. I was very impressed. They did very well. I mean, again, to stop Aaron Rodgers, yeah, I give them credit. Not only did the Packers offense as a whole fail, and, I mean, you can put some of that on Aaron Rodgers, some of that on Matt LaFleur. There was a drop by Devontae Adams, a drop by Equanimeous St. Brown on the 2-point conversion. Like, pretty much everybody who's been on point this year made a mistake. And then there's Kevin King. All year, I have tried to hold back from going off on Kevin King. He was hurt halfway through the year. But your cover 3... with 6 seconds left at like the 40. And you just let Scotty Miller run by you. I don't understand. I don't care what Mike Pettin called. Okay, people are going after Mike Pettin.
Shout out MSL. Let's go.
I don't care what Mike Pettin called. You cannot, Bruce. Please, as somebody who played football,
Okay.
Even if not at a very high level. You've played more football than I have.
Truth.
Aren't you told in that situation, just don't let them run by you?
Behind you. Deepest to deep. Deepest to deep. In a situation like that, you just get your ass back. And the cushion, and the fact that he already gave him a 5 to 6 yard cushion, I don't remember specifically,
Yeah.
but a 5 to 6 yard cushion already on it, and he still got beat deep.
Yeah.
By the
And
way, side note, how about Scotty Miller calling out Tyreek Hill about saying he might be faster than him? But anyway, go ahead.
yeah, that's not true. But anyway, so yeah, you have Kevin King doing that. Kevin King with the worst time jump I've ever seen in my life on the Mike Evans. Like, to be clear, he didn't play that poorly until the jump. The
Is
jump
he
was
back?
atrocious. He was in
back
good
next
position. He
Is
was
under
in good
contract next
position.
year? MJ?
What?
Is he under contract next year?
I sure hope not. I don't think so.
Do you think he's back next year?
No. And if he is, I will riot.
It'll be a single. It'll just be you.
A lot of
His
Packers
side.
fans will riot. People do not like Kevin King. But then Kevin King also gets trucked by Leonard Fournette, which I get. Kevin King is our biggest corner. Like, he's the biggest dude that plays coverage, but Leonard Fournette just smashed him on that run right at the goal line. I don't know if you've seen that picture. Very embarrassing. So not
embarrassing.
We'll get to that later. But yeah, overall, not a good day from Kevin King. So, you mean you don't capitalize on mistakes. You make mistakes yourself. Devontae Adams drops a touchdown pass. That almost never happens. The drop 2-point conversion. Just things kept going wrong. The one I do want to give credit to the Packers defense. I said the other day, Aaron Rodgers has only lost 2 playoff games in his career when his defense didn't give up 30 points. They gave up 30 points, but they were again put in some very bad positions. They get a turnover. Jair Alexander, holy cow. I know that one of those was a tipped ball, but he was covering, I want to say, Scotty Miller. It was either Scotty Miller or Mike Evans outside, and that ball was thrown in the slot that was tipped. And Alexander, the awareness he had on that is very impressive. And I say that because he hasn't had that awareness before. That's something new that I saw from him.
So one of the things that, and to be honest with you, I was actually for, as bad as it sounds, I wanted the Packers. I did actually have the Buccaneers for my Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, you did. A long time ago.
Very, very beginning of the year, I had that as my Super Bowl pick. But I actually put a little wager on the Packers.
Yeah.
And unfortunately lost that. But I kind of want to get your thoughts on this. And do you think that there needs to be any kind of changes made to their coaching staff? You led in time of possession. You won the turnover battle. You basically dominated in all statistical categories, and they still it was just the first half. So
that there was the 11-point swing right at the end of because the Devontae Adams touchdown turned into a field goal, and then the Scotty Miller touchdown. That's that 11-point swing and the 2-point conversion.
Here's my other question, and it was alluded to already right here. Aaron Rodgers threw the ball 3 times before they ultimately ended up kicking the field goal on that last drive, giving the ball back to arguably, I'm not going to say for sure, but arguably the best quarterback in NFL history.
Yep.
And I'll be frank, I would not want to I would not want to be a coach coaching against Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady in a situation like that.
No.
Shit, do I take a field goal or shit and give the ball back to a legend? But here's the thing, though. You have Aaron Rodgers. You have one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. And you're deciding to take the ball out of his hands and give it to one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL history in Tom Brady with a lot of time left. I didn't agree with that call. I didn't like the fact that he kicked the field goal there. And while yes, advanced metrics gave it 2 more percentage points for them to win, I think that's horse shit. I throw that out the window at that time. There's a time and a place for metrics. I 100% think that way. However, in a situation like that, my gut says, listen, I have one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the NFL and NFL history in Aaron Rodgers. I am not letting that guy, number 12, across the field, get that ball back with time left and a 2-possession. Oh, no, it was a 1-possession game at that time. But I just don't give that ball back to him unless I score a touchdown or turn the ball over. And here's another thing. You had 3 timeouts. Okay, now I'm getting worked. He had 3 timeouts. So if he does not get, if he goes for it on 4th down and they're on the Buccaneers 8-yard line.
Yeah.
He gets stopped. I'd much rather take that and force the Buccaneers to go all the way downfield than kick the damn field goal and give them a little bit more of a better possession, a better area, the more field to work with. So, get that pressure on them. I don't know. I think that was dumb. I didn't like that call, and I think it cost me money.
So here's the thing, Bruce. Kicking that field goal is actually the aggressive call. Kicking the field goal is playing to win. Going for it on 4th down is playing to tie. Here's why. You kick the field goal, it's now a 5-point game instead of 8. Either way, in either world, kicking, going for it on 4th down, you have to get a stop and you have to score again to at least tie the football game, right? Can we agree on that?
I'm going to disagree with your thought process.
Okay. So you kick a field goal, it's a 5-point game.
Not to lose.
Either way, you have to get a stop, correct? True. Either way, you have to get a stop, and there's a difference of 17 yards. That doesn't matter. All they need is 2 first downs. The location of those 2 first downs does not matter.
I don't think you get that ball back to him, though. I don't think you get that ball back to him without scoring a touchdown.
But that doesn't – the touchdown in that when you get the touchdown doesn't matter. Matt LaFleur is playing to win. You have to get a stop either way.
Not to lose. The way he played that.
No.
100% it was. 100% it was. 100% it was. Playing to win would have been like saying, all right, fuck it. I have one of the F-bomb. My bad. Sorry, y'all. First one ever on the show. No, I think you going for a touchdown there is playing to win the game. And there's a Herm Edwards quote, you play to win the game.
Bruce, even if they get the touchdown, they then have to get the 2-point conversion. Bruce, listen to me. Even if they get the touchdown, they still have to get a 2-point conversion, which they'd already failed in the game, and the Packers have not been good at 2-point conversions this year. They already have to get so let's say they get the touchdown and they get the 2-point conversion. Now they're tied. You give Brady the chance to go down and win the game, which we can both agree there's a decent chance that happens. Even if they stop him, they still have to get the ball back and go down and score a field goal. So at any point, you have to get a field goal and get a touchdown to win the game. There's inherently not a difference. You take the points when you can get them, because otherwise...
I don't disagree with that comment. I don't disagree with that.
Because otherwise your best case scenario is tie. If you don't kick that field goal...
You're restricting a team that scored 27 straight touchdowns in the red zone.
The Packers had not scored. They had scored.
Yeah, it was 20. It was goal to go. 27 straight goal to go.
Oh, okay.
They had 27 straight goal to go touchdowns going into that game.
Mm-hmm.
The message you're sending to your offense at that point is, well, okay, we're gonna kick the field goal. I don't think I just don't agree with it. As a coach, I don't agree with it. I know the statistics that you're throwing out. I understand that. I know, and I looked them over. I read them, but again, it's just the stubborn meathead person in me that says, no, you go for the touchdown. You go for the throat.
Well, there's also the fact that you're going for having the ball the last time. You don't want Tom Brady to have the ball the last time. And, the guy who had the ball the last time won. Right. So the idea was you kick it, you stop them, you go down, you score a touchdown. Their defense was hot. Their defense had been giving Tom Brady hell. And Matt LaFleur said, I'm a kick the field goal, make this a game where if I score a touchdown, I go out there and I win the football game. Go get a stop. Aaron Rodgers has done so. Now I'll go on the penalties, right? So I'll rant about the specifics of the penalties in a moment. But let's just say that holding on Kevin King was not called on that 3rd down. The Packers have 1 timeout left, 1:30, and are down 5. Aaron Rodgers gets the ball. It is 20 with 1:30 and a timeout. He has done much, much more with much, much less. So you're telling me that if you're handed that, you say Aaron Rodgers got to go 80 yards in a minute 30 with one timeout, and if we score a touchdown, we win this football game. How is that a bad situation? How is that bad coaching?
I just don't agree. I just didn't agree with it. Just because I didn't say it was bad coaching, I just don't agree with it. I said it's playing not to, or I'm saying it's playing not to lose. I'm not saying it's playing to win. I just think you're taking the trust away from your legend quarterback.
But both situations, you're
No, how is that? So I don't know. I just don't. I just thought I was pulling the trust away from your quarterback
because they had 3 straight really bad plays. Their offense was not flowing. So why go out there 4th and 8, which is really hard to convert? There is not much field to work with there.
In that moment, so real quick, in that moment, did you actually want them to kick that field goal?
Yes.
No.
I did not want them to go for it.
No. Because I don't think in that particular moment, I think it's a win-win type situation in that though. If they go for it, well, no, you're not getting points. You're
win-win.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win.
If you go for it and miss, your best case scenario is a tie game and you go to overtime. Do you know the Packers' experience in overtime? Really bad, not good, very bad, very poor, horrible, atrocious, not a good time. We don't want that.
That's fair. Okay, so and that's fair. Okay, to that point, all right. I'm not.
And let's say this, Bruce. Kevin King doesn't get called for that holding. Aaron Rodgers takes them down the field in a minute 30, 80 yards. Matt LaFleur is the genius of the week, and you know that that's true. Matt LaFleur is the genius. He is getting praised for that. He and Rodgers are getting heralded as geniuses if he pulls that off and it goes well. And you know what? They probably would have if it wasn't for that idiotic ref who called a holding that hadn't been called the entire game. Okay?
Wow.
And I will say, was that holding? Yes, Kevin King actually grabbed him twice. It was definitely holding. But you know what? Devontae Adams got grabbed in the same exact fashion on a skinny post right at the goal line. And if he didn't get grabbed, it would have been a touchdown. Alan Lazard on the interception was literally yanked by his neck by Murphy Bunting. Didn't get called. Murphy Bunting on another play yanked Lazard. Didn't get called. The Packers had it multiple times on Bucs receivers, and it didn't get called. And you know what, Bruce? I'm sure you agree with me on this. I don't like games, whether or not I'm a fan of the team, I don't like games getting decided by flags. It pisses me off. I don't like it. When you're at this high of a level, the entire game they had let the boys play. And I commented on Twitter multiple times, wow, they're letting them play today. Okay. And so when Kevin King held at the end, I said, they're not going to call that. And the guy waved incomplete, stood there for 3 seconds, and then threw the flag. And I hate when people say, you know, he's biased towards Tom Brady. He's biased towards Aaron Rodgers. That's BS. I don't know what's going through his head. I have officiated games where I know people who have a very good reputation as being an incredible player, and I consciously try not to be biased. Like, I have that in my head when I'm officiating, where like I know he's going, and I know an official is going to try to make a call that way or something like that. And actually, in that situation, I consciously make sure I'm not doing that. And so I think it's BS when people say that for Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, whoever it is.
100%.
But when you call a game like that the entire way, and then you decide who goes to the Super Bowl with one singular flag, that is BS.
I don't think that one. Okay, in that particular moment and the momentum, yes, that one particular play did decide a lot. However,
and I'm not saying if he doesn't call that flag, that the obviously the Packers, like I said, still have to go probably 80 yards in a minute and a half with one timeout. That's still really hard, but you end the game right there by calling that penalty.
Right. Okay, and I agree, and that's the reason why I sent you the text messages that I sent you about how it was annoying for me to see the end of the game kind of decided by that.
The thing I also said was, and people who are like, oh, the NFL wants Tom Brady. I also, obviously that's BS. I don't think anybody in their right mind believes that there's like, you know, an official memo that goes out from Roger Goodell to the officials that says, hey, at the end of the game when it's 31-26, because you guys have already rigged this to be really important right at the end of the game, because the officials are able to do that. Make Brady throw 3 interceptions, exactly. But we want you to call holding on Kevin King right at the end of the game to end it. Can you do that? Yeah, good talk.
So did you know that the mic that officials actually have, there's another switch to it that communicates to the quarterback and lets them know you need to throw an interception
Yes.
now. So that way we can call something. Oh, I'm sorry. No, let's not call it. Let's not throw the pick. We'll actually throw the flag on this one.
Yeah.
And then the next play, you throw the interception. So that way we make Mr. Goodell happy, and that way we can have the Super
The
Bowl.
home Super Bowl,
Mahomes
first time
and
Tom Brady.
Brady.
Yeah, exactly.
Old man versus young man, the passing of the torch.
And well, I do think that Patrick Mahomes is just going to kick the crap out of Tom Brady. That's a discussion we can have next week with a little Super Bowl preview or something like that. But
Yeah.
to have that now, as I said, I've gone through some crushing losses. 2014, the overtime game, Brandon Bostic. Which, by the way, did you see?
Boom, boom.
Did you see? So Brandon Bostic tweeted after the game. They're probably going to blame this one on me too.
That was the Wichita game. That was the onside game, wasn't it?
Yes. And TJ Lang, the longtime guard for the Packers, responded to him and said, no, because nobody didn't do their job in this game.
I was gonna say nobody knows who you are anymore, but that
Well,
was
Yeah. He was basically like, no, everyone did their job on Sunday.
yeah.
Oop. And Brandon Bostic's like, oh, my instincts kicked in. I'm like, BS. You practiced that play so many times. You know exactly what your job is.
Oh yeah.
You know exactly
100%.
what you're supposed to do. Yeah, let's have
100%.
Brandon Bostic catch the ball over Jordy Nelson. That's smart. Yeah, very, very smart. You are much more likely to no. So I've gone through all of these heartbreaking, and I was just, I was angry at that initial Kevin King call. I will admit I slammed my hand on my desk. It hurt for a couple minutes, but I was just sad. But this goes back to your point of wasting Aaron Rodgers. And whether it's Aaron Rodgers, I've made the point multiple times about how little defensive help he's had. And just, they were so close. By every number, they were the better team in that game. And they didn't win. And it's just disappointing. Because you wanted to see Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. Because as much as, Tom Brady passing the torch to Mahomes, they are nothing alike as quarterbacks. They're nothing alike as people whatsoever. Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes are so... it's the State Farm Super Bowl. The rematch of Super Bowl I. That's what everybody seemed to want, unless you were a fan of the Bucs, Tom Brady, or the Bills. And it's just disappointing not to be able to see that. And it was disappointing just from like a pure football perspective. I want to see Aaron Rodgers try to win that game. He's done some incredible things in the last seconds of playoff games, a lot of which he lost because of his defense. His heroics in Arizona ruined because Larry Fitzgerald runs an 80-yard slant and Clay Matthews forgets how to tackle. Like, all of these moments where Aaron Rodgers has just been that dude and wanted to see him do it in heroic fashion. Now, Ray's in the waiting room. Last thing I'm going to say is anybody who is freaking dumb enough to say that Aaron Rodgers is leaving Green Bay, you are an idiot. Adam Schefter, I'm looking at you. You do not deserve to have that blue check mark after putting Aaron Rodgers right below Deshaun Watson on your list of quarterbacks who have a sticky situation. That is BS and you to know it. The man just went through the most heartbreaking loss that he has had in his career as quarterback. Second year in a row in the NFC Championship game. Half of his best players are up for free agency. Yes, his future is uncertain because he doesn't know what his team is going to look like next year. But the minority owner of the Bucs, the guy who's dedicated his life to helping University of Wisconsin, he's not just going to up and leave. Not this year, and not with what he has at his disposal still. One of the best young defenses, the best receiver in the NFL, and I will say it, he's not leaving.
You good? Are you good, dog?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, because I was thinking that you were.
I'm interested what my heart rate is right now.
I was gonna say, like,
I'll be honest. I kind of.
You got going there a little bit, and I get why. Believe me.
Yeah, it's been spiking for the last couple minutes. Okay.
Fair enough. I want to touch on something that you said after we talked to Ray.
Yeah, so we're gonna bring Ray in, everybody, former special teams coach for the Indianapolis Colts, and he was there during the Super Bowl in 2009. Bring Ray in.
You just know how I feel every single week with the Bears.
Yes.
That's great.
Hello, Ray. How you doing?
Doing good. Can you hear me all right, MJ?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Coach?
Coach Bruce, I'm with you. I'm on you. I would have went for it on 4th and 8.
Well, I guess that's the coach versus the player, but
yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is.
So,
lose some, right?
Ray, obviously you and I have spoken a lot before, but I wanted to introduce the dynamic that Bruce and I have. So the reason he's called Coach Bruce, obviously he is a coach, but he was my freshman baseball coach my freshman year of high school. And then when I started doing all of the things that you're very well aware of the last year, Bruce hit me up and said, hey, we should do a live radio-style show where we just kind of shoot the breeze for an hour, have some people on, talk some sports. So we started this back in, April, May, sometime at the beginning of quarantine, around then. And
quarantine action.
Yeah, we've been having a good time ever since. So thank you very much, Ray, for coming on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I know you got some good stories. So while I do a little bit of promotion on having Ray on, I will have Bruce ask the first question.
So, well, first of all, Ray, thank you so much for joining us. I apologize. I only apologize real quick. I had to pour a glass of juice. But that being said, though, Ray, if you could please catch our viewing audience up on what you've been up to the past, in your career and everything.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on. And if I'm like you, Coach Bruce, MJ is going to be big time. So I hope he doesn't forget us when he becomes
right.
big
I agree.
Ray, I still have that note in my phone under your contact. The description is "Do not forget Ray."
Yeah.
I will. I promise I will not.
Okay. Well, my last coaching gig was with the New York Guardians in the XFL. And unfortunately, it was going extremely well until COVID-19 hit. And unfortunately, just like a lot of people, they disbanded it. But it is coming back. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is part of the company that bought it over. So looking forward to it, seeing if I could latch on again, and would love to be part of it as well. And before that, I was with the AAF Birmingham Iron, which is basically the XFL and AAF are triple A football.
Okay.
Professional players that want to make the NFL. And in the XFL, from what I read the other day, there was 29 players from the XFL signed future contracts with the NFL.
Yep.
So there's a definite need for AAA football, so-called AAA football. And with the Birmingham Iron, there was like 2 or 3, 4 players that all made it with the NFL, one being J.C. Hassenauer from Alabama that is now with the Steelers and actually played and started a few games for the Steelers.
Yeah.
So, and then before that, I was at Georgia Tech. We won the Orange Bowl in 2014. And then in 2015, had an iconic special team play where we blocked Florida State's field goal on the last play of the game. And we kicked, it was a block 6, and we snapped their 28-game winning streak in the ACC. And I was a special teams coach at that time. And then before that, I was in the Canadian League with the Montreal Alouettes. And then before that, I was in the NFL with the Indianapolis Colts. And the last time they went to the Super Bowl in 2009, season 2010. Actually, 11 years ago, on January 24th, we beat the New York Jets 30-17 in the first game. And then we watched the second game and see who we were going to play in the Super Bowl. And it was the New Orleans Saints. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out as we would have all liked, but it was still a great experience.
Yeah, it was. So I'm going to go jump right in on it right now. I know there's a question that MJ wants to talk to you about, but I want to go back to that Colts time frame, if I may.
Sure.
I'm a huge fan of what Pat McAfee is doing currently since he left football. He's very boisterous. He's very loud. And one of the situations that he was involved in when you had the opportunity to coach him was some bye-week shenanigans. Do you recall that endeavor or that experience that he had during that time frame?
I do. And Pat, first of all, was an outstanding punter and
Mhm.
kickoff guy, and would have been a great field goal kicker in the National Football League if he had the opportunity. And Pat is born to do what he's doing right now.
That's awesome.
If Pat wanted to play another 10 years in the NFL, he would have.
He's in great shape right
But he's
now.
even
Yeah.
yeah, and he's even bigger on. He's on the bigger and better things, and I wish him all the best. But I do remember that happening, and probably he has made fun of it over his career since then. I remember one time on ESPN, he jumped in the water after talking about who was going to win the games. He was a special guest, and so he has some fun with it.
Mhm.
But I think he's done an outstanding job of promoting his career, and quite obviously, just like you said, has a great following.
Yeah. Another thing to follow up on that, with him, can you speak to the dynamics that you guys had in that Colts locker room then? How was that team? How fun was that team? Did he fit in well? Obviously, you had Peyton Manning during that time frame, so while both of them are very charismatic, their charisma is completely different in the way they approach it. So if you could just touch on how that locker room was?
Well, Pat came in as a rookie as I did as well, and I actually went out to work out Pat at West Virginia, and he was my number one guy. The two best punters coming out that year were Thomas Morstead and Pat McAfee.
Mhm.
And I actually liked Pat better because I knew he'd be a great holder, and I knew he could make field goals for us as well.
Mhm.
Morstead got drafted in the 5th round, and we took Pat in the 7th round and actually traded up to get him. So he knew his place as a rookie, just like all of us. We're all rookies, and he knew his job and everything. And that's how it works. And then as time goes on, he became one of the best punter kickoff guys in the country. He started the new thing of a punter being the kickoff guy. If you could find one, it saves the leg on the field goal kicker. And I always knew that he would do that, and that's another reason why we drafted him. But as he got more respect in the locker room because of his play, he got more boisterous, and he should, and he has that right. And he was well invested into it. And like I said, I only had him for 3 years, but it was a privilege and a pleasure to work with him. And he was outstanding at his craft.
So I got one more question before I let MJ speak on this. I apologize.
Go for it.
But so if you could just touch on one more thing about that team. We're coming up to the Super Bowl right now. What was it like coming up to that Super Bowl that you were able to coach in? And how was it during media week? What's that about? And what kind of rules or guidelines did you implement to have the players come in on time? And can you just speak to some of that?
Sure. Well, first of all, that season we started out 14-0, and that also was the season that Coach Belichick for the Patriots went for it on 4th and 2 on his own 28-yard line and missed it by an inch, and that kept our streak going. We ended up pulling our starters in Week 15, and the Jets beat us. And the irony of the thing, that helped the Jets get in the playoffs, and we ended up beating the Jets to go to the Super Bowl. So once you get to the Super Bowl, the first couple days, you take care of all your business. The players and the coaches took care of who they're getting tickets. Now, it's a little different this year because of the pandemic,
Right.
but they took care of all their business while the coaches were still starting the game plan.
Mhm.
But the game plan will be in by Sunday, and they'll just fine tune it next week. And you got it's a little bit surreal. You just got to stay focused at hand, like you normally do, and go from there. But it's an exciting time for the people that are in there. A little tidbit on this: Bruce Arians, I worked for Bruce at Temple University back in the 80s, and it was a pleasure to work for him, and really happy for him and know quite a few of those coaches on that staff. Actually, the female defensive line coach, Lori Locust, was with us in the AAF at the Birmingham Iron, and actually got the job partly because she was working with us at the Birmingham Iron, but she left actually in March to take that job with the Tampa Bay Bucks. That was in 2019. So really excited for her, and she was a pleasure to work. She actually helped me with special teams with the Birmingham Iron. So, but it's a great Super Bowl. You can't ask for anything more. Brady always has some luck on his side. Even last week, I heard you all talking about the Green Bay Packer game. Sometimes, like Rex Ryan says, it just goes Tom Brady's way. Who doesn't want to beat Tom Brady? And he's a great person, So he's got some rabbit foots that, like, he even throws interceptions. It's better than punts. Yeah. So he even knows when to throw an interception. So, but looking forward to watching it and be just a true football fan like you all.
So, Ray, I know you know what question I'm probably going to ask, because I asked you this when I had you on the podcast, and you had an amazing answer to this. So the onside kick that Sean Payton called at the beginning of the second half in that Super Bowl, Colts versus Saints, it's heralded as one of the greatest plays ever in Super Bowl history. When you look at the lists, NFL Films does their lists and stuff like that. So from your perspective, walk me through when it happened, before that, the week before, game planning for special teams, all of that.
Well, sure. When you have Peyton Manning, there's always people, the other teams are always going to try to steal a possession. So we practice that play once a week. They actually called it ambush, and I know that by reading the articles. And actually, their beat writer, Mike Triplett, did a 10-year anniversary a year ago on it about the story. But we always knew that they're always going to try to do it. And believe it or not, right before they went out there at halftime, I told everybody, now's the time that there's going to be you always have to be ready, but if there was ever a time for an onside kick, this was the time. And you always wanted to be alerted to that. And unfortunately, it hit our guy right in the face mask, and he was a receiver, Hank Baskett, and he actually had it underneath the pile and lost it. There's actually on NFL Network, they talk about a blue ball, and we were wearing blue jerseys, and but then ended up losing it underneath the pile. But in all honesty, it didn't lose the game for us. It did give them an extra possession. They did go down and score, but it took 61 yards. But we actually came back and went ahead right after that. And so there was a lot of twists and turns in the game. But it, like you said, it makes for Super Bowl lore. And now one thing that I tell people too, and I was alerted to it, but I probably should have yelled more. But right before we went on the field, they changed the ends of the field because Sean Payton wanted the kick to go to his sideline. There was very little wind that day, so it didn't matter which way you kicked. So we were going out there like they were going to kick the one way, and then all of a sudden both teams actually had to switch ends because Sean went to the head official and said, no, we want to kick this way. And that should have alerted me as well. But it, no matter what, it was a great onside kick. Yeah, it was. I actually showed it to the team the night before. They did it in 2007 against Jacksonville. Now, it was a different kicker that did it, and I actually had it on my highlight tape. I went back a couple of years and watched all their film of stuff like that. But we didn't execute. And like I said, it makes for good Super Bowl lore. And unfortunately, we didn't win, and they won. And the city probably needed it more than Indianapolis. So we'll give it to New Orleans. And unfortunately, they have not been back. So maybe it's a little bit of a curse for it, too, as well. And one side note to this, which is interesting, Chris Rice is the guy who recovered it, okay? He happens to be a Georgia Tech graduate. So when Peyton Manning got hurt and didn't play the year. We had a bad year and we didn't have a backup quarterback, and we all got fired. I ended up going to Georgia Tech, and Chris Rice is a Georgia Tech grad. And right by my office, they had a picture of him holding up the ball that he recovered from the Super Bowl. So I had to walk back past that picture every day. So, but still, being in the Super Bowl is still a great privilege. Hopefully, the Colts will get back there someday. If they hadn't fired us all, we would have got them back there by now. But no sour grapes, and it's a privilege to be part of their organization. And like you guys, I'm looking forward to watching some great football on Super Bowl Sunday and go from there.
Sir.
Do you have anything from that Super Bowl, like a pass into the stadium or something you wore that day? Do you have any memorabilia from that day?
I do have the field pass. You wear a field pass on there. I do have that. I do have some things. Actually, the way my office is set up, if we turned it around, you'd be able to see all the. I have different helmets everywhere I coached.
Okay.
And then I have a Super Bowl ball they all gave us. They signed them by all the players before the Super Bowl. And then we did get an AFC championship ring that I take great pride in. But we didn't win the big one, but we were there. And I remember Tom Brady, after he lost one of his Super Bowls, he's only been to 9 so far, and 6-3, but he was down after they lost. I think it was to the Eagles. He says, if you're not in it, you don't have the chance to win it. So we were in it. We gave it a great shot. It just didn't work out our way that day. And I always thought I'd get back, but it's harder now that I'm getting older. When I first started in coaching as well, I was with the University of Maryland in 2001, and we went to the Orange Bowl, and we got waxed by Florida with Coach Spurrier, and we won the ACC. Last time Maryland has won the ACC. And I always thought I'd get back there, and sure enough, I did with Georgia Tech, and we beat Mississippi State that night. And the irony of it is, they did a surprise onside kick, and one of our players, Ricky June, a wide receiver, caught it, and then we also recovered another onside kick. They tried it, and so a little irony to that. So we got back to win the Orange Bowl. Someday I'd like to get back in the NFL and have a chance to win a Super Bowl.
What I'm hearing, Bruce, about Ray is he's the good luck charm. I mean, he goes places, they get places they haven't been in a while, and when he leaves, they don't get there again because Ray's gone.
Hey, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Like I'd be totally okay with a good luck charm with the team that I have above my shoulder right here. So by all means, I'm not wishing anyone to lose their jobs. However,
well, there's already an opening in Green Bay.
Oh.
And our special teams has been really bad. So, Ray, if you could get on that, because I know you're perfectly in control of that. If you could just make a couple calls, call up Goody, Mark Murph, and say, hey, last time I was with a team, they went to the Super Bowl, so you've been having trouble with that?
The little irony, I got 2 quick stories for you. So, first of all, the GM, Mr. Goodenkus, his dad and I were very good friends. His dad is John Goodenkus, an ex-college coach. And then about the Chicago Bears, I was at Wake Forest, and we were recruiting a quarterback out of Manheim Central High School. And I wanted to take him. We didn't take him. And he ended up at Delaware. It just so happened to be Matt Nagy. And if I had taken him, maybe I'd be on the staff at the Chicago Bears.
That's true, too. That's
hilarious.
One of the things I actually do want to ask you about, you have a wealth of history in college football and obviously history in professional sports. Can you tell us a little bit about if there is even a difference with preparation for special teams between college football and professional football?
Not really. The difference is in college football, you have more players because of the 70-man rule, and you can use guys. He might be on the trip and all he's on is on kickoff coverage. Or you have another guy that you use strictly for special teams. Now in the NFL, with the 53-man squad, you have all those guys they're on every special team. We have running backs covering kickoffs. We have offensive linemen on kickoff return. Now, since the rules have changed, that hasn't happened as much. But the preparation is the same. In college, though, you have more players and that are with you the whole time. In our second year with the Colts, we had the most injuries ever. 75 different players were on our active roster. And so what happens is you move up special team guys to be starters, and then you get guys that you sign to become special team guys. And so there might be a guy that never been in your system, comes in on a Monday, Tuesday's their day off, you coach them up. Wednesday they're at practice and they're playing 25 special team plays on Sunday. And all they're hoping to do is be still in the building on Monday.
Part of it, right?
Yeah, and so there's a challenge, but it's a challenge for everybody. Now, with the Packers, I have a history of working with a franchise quarterback, and what happens, those guys cost a lot of money, those franchise quarterbacks, so there's not as much money for special team players, and that makes it tough. And the one thing you should always have, though, and I can never get it in Indianapolis, was you always have to have a returner. Yep. If you have a returner, it makes the other 10 guys look good. The Chiefs have always had a returner. Tyreek Hill got drafted in the 5th round. He was the returner. Once he became a superstar, now they got McCole Hardman.
Yeah.
If they didn't have McCole Hardman, I bet you Tyreek Hill would be back during the playoffs, be back on punts and kickoffs during the playoffs. But they have another guy just as fast. You guys are too young, but Darrell Green was a great corner for the Washington Redskins. And during the season, he didn't play punt returner. When they got to the playoffs, he was the punt returner. And so if you always have a returner, you always have a chance. And we had always a great kicker, Adam Vinatieri, Matt Stover, Pat McAfee's as good. Pat McAfee, if he kept going, I really believe would be in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
He's as good a punter, kickoff guy there ever was. Wow. And he did it, I think, 10 years, almost 10 years. But I'm talking about those guys have to do it longer than everybody else. And he easily could have did it 20 years. Right. So saying all that, the preparation is the same. But the players, you have more players to choose from at the collegiate level.
So you kind of touched on it already. If you don't have a punt returner, it makes it a lot more difficult for special teams. I would argue that the Chicago Bears have had the best punt returner of all time. That I might be a little biased, but do you think Devin Hester is a Hall of Fame player?
I don't have the stats in front of me. You'd have to compare him with all the other returners. If he's up there and say most returns for touchdowns as a punt returner and kick returner, I don't know if you could separate them. The Hall of Fame is not, even with kickers, and punters, they're just not ready to put those guys in the Hall. They should be. Mm-hmm. They should be compared to other people at their position. And quite obviously, Devin Hester, I still hear stories. The one coach was Ron Turner was on our staff. His brother Norv was the head coach of the Chargers. They were playing the Bears, and he told his punter to kick it out of bounds every time. Mm-hmm. Well, he tried to. He might have got 5 out of 8, but one of them kept in bounds, and Devin took it to the house. It's hard to do that. It's hard to kick it out of bounds. Those guys, they want their punting average as well,
Right.
So, but Devin Hester would be, to me, when they start putting specialists in the Hall of Fame, quite obviously his name should definitely come up.
So I have the numbers for you, Ray.
Here we go.
Devin Hester has 14 punt returns in his career. The next closest is 10.
I'd say he'd be the first punt returner to go in the Hall of Fame once they decide to do that.
And then
Devin played a position. He was a decent receiver. It's just a mentality of the Hall of Fame. Do we want these guys in there? And they really should be. It's like a long snapper. I had a guy coached at University of Maryland, John Condo, played 13 years in the NFL as a long snapper. And with the Raiders, I think 10 of them. And as good at his position there isn't ever been.
Right.
And you don't hear much about him or at all about him, and that's a good thing.
That's
Yep.
true.
But you can't live without him,
Yeah.
and that's just the way it goes. And so, saying all that, when the Hall of Fame committee decides to put those guys in, I would say Devin Hester would have a great chance.
Yeah.
And then the guy the Bears have right now is tied for first all time in kick returns.
Cordell Patterson, yeah.
Yep.
If you got him, you're willing to take the ball out of the end zone all the time
Yep.
because he's got a chance to go. If you don't have a guy like him, you're better off taking the ball at the 25-yard line because you don't have any penalties if you let it hit the end zone. And you saw the Packers did that in the playoff game, and one of them was even close. It hit the line. But that was a smart move. That's better off. If the ball's in, you got to take it back. But if you got a guy like Cordell Patterson, let's take our shot. He's another special guy at that position that can be in the Hall of Fame because of the position he plays.
Yeah. So, well, I have one last question before MJ. So is there any team that you watch currently in the NFL, well, this past season and seasons previous, that you've seen, you're like, damn, I really like the way this coach runs their special teams and how he approaches the game? Is there anyone that's there right now in the NFL that you say that about?
Well, that would be an unfair question. I don't want to signal anybody out. But
No, call him out, Ray.
No. Again, guys that have done it a long time. The guy at the Kansas City Chiefs has done it a long time. And I go back to this. He's always had a returner. And that tells me that the administration buys into it. Because he's done such a good job. They make sure they find one. I mean, Tyreek Hill, again, is what? He's 5'7", and again, he was a 5th-round draft choice and probably going to be a Hall of Famer if he keeps going. Then they find Mecole Hardman. So they're willing to find that type of guy. But saying all that, he's also a very good coach. So there's a lot of guys out there that are very good. I enjoy watching the special teams, and I enjoy watching some very good plays as well.
Fair.
Well, Ray, I think I don't have anything else for you. I think that was Bruce's last question. I love hearing you tell stories, Ray. So thank you so much for coming on, talking to us for 30 minutes. It's a pleasure, as always. My last question for you is, how is your son doing?
My son is doing great. He's 16 weeks old today.
Congratulations.
It's our first child, and he was born on October 8th. I would not advise having a baby during a pandemic. It's not the smartest thing to do. Quite obviously, I'm older and having a child, but got full of energy. And a little tidbit, my mother, who passed away, was born in 1918 during the Spanish flu pandemic. So her grandson's born in COVID-19 pandemic.
That's cool.
Wow. His name is Tressel Caldwell Rychleski, after Jim Tressel and Jim Caldwell. We call him TC. And you guys, again, are too old, but my favorite cartoon was Top Cat back in the 60s.
Yeah.
So, and only his friends get to call him TC. So I'll leave you all with that. It's a pleasure to be on your show. Don't forget me, MJ. And
I will
Coach
not.
Bruce, great meeting you.
Pleasure, sir. Best of luck to you in future endeavors.
Thanks. Take care, guys.
Talk to you later. Now you know why I love Ray.
That was great. Some of the stories. I bet you he'd be awesome inside the special teams room. It'd be interesting to see how he would snap off at somebody if they missed a block, or they went through the wrong gap. Or I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
So Bruce, before we wrap up, I'll give you your time to talk about how much you want Deshaun Watson.
Oh my goodness. I am all in. I don't care. Okay, so all right. So I'm not going to go on a huge rant about this. At least I'm going to try not to. So the thing about Deshaun Watson, and people, I've seen it all over Chicago media, all over Twitter. Bear fans saying, you can't give four first round draft picks away. You're giving away the whole team. I don't give a damn. When was the last time we saw a quarterback that was a franchise quarterback in this town? Sid Luckman.
Yep.
I was not around for that. All right. So that being said, you sell the farm 4 years without having a first round pick. I am totally cool with it. I don't care. So because guess what? You're going to have that guy, if you keep him happy, like you said, if you keep him happy, you will have him for 10 to 12 years because he's 25 years old. He's just entering his prime. Full opportunity. Go get him. Ryan Pace, you want your job. You keep him. The McCaskies, you want to make this team relevant in the NFL again. You go get him.
So my only other question would be, I heard that the Bears have been also calling about Matthew Stafford.
No.
No?
No. I mean, honestly, like there's no chance in hell for you to get Deshaun Watson, then you go get Stafford if they want to trade within the division, which I doubt. But hypothetically, say you get him, then you are forced to draft a quarterback ASAP. Because
Stafford's not that old.
Stafford's like 32, isn't he?
He's not super.
Yeah, but I would want to draft a quarterback though.
I wouldn't bring Stafford in and immediately draft his replacement.
I'll draft a quarterback.
Okay.
Okay. But I would also say I really hope that they focus on a tackle in the draft in the early rounds in the draft, a tackle and a receiver.
Have you seen that big boy from Alabama?
Have you seen the big boy from UW Whitewater?
Yeah. He's a tank. He's a center, right?
The tank. He's an interior lineman. That's what he's categorized as.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, he is. But all right, man. So I somehow made it through my first week coaching basketball and having the show and working.
Yeah. That's impressive. Props to you, Bruce. I had my first couple classes.
How was that, by the way?
It was very good. It's weird. I had one class in person. We started on Wednesday, so I have one as well on Monday. Only on Mondays that is in person. It's like a little seminar, just 1 credit hour thing. So I have that, and then I have one class Tuesday, Thursday in person, and then my other 2 are virtual, and then I have one that's arranged, so it's just all on my own time. So I kind of like it. I don't have any days class-wise where I'm really overwhelmed. I think the most I ever have on a given day is 2. So, and it's all between noon and 3. So I don't have to get up early. I don't have to do schoolwork late. Get up at 11, done by 3, go to the gym. Then I have 4 p.m. and on, all mine. So it's been good.
I was this close to dropping another F-bomb, but So yeah, sorry again for doing that. My bad. But real quick, I'll transition with the F-bomb statement with this.
Yes.
The weekend is right around the corner, and there are plenty of things going on in Central Illinois to keep you and the family busy. Whether you're just visiting or you call the heart of Illinois home, Discover Peoria, the Peoria Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, has dropped us some information about a few weekly discoveries you don't want to miss. The 22nd annual Frosty 5K, and it's cold as all hell, so it will be frosty.
Very frosty, can confirm.
By Family Corps. There is still time to sign up for the 22nd annual Frosty 5K and 1 mile dog walk, which is taking place Saturday, January 30th, 2021. This hybrid event allows registered people to choose between participating in person or virtually. Did you like that? Proceeds from this event will benefit programs and clients of Family Corps. Make sure to sign up today over on Discover Peoria's event page today.
And lastly, we have the chocolates. Save the date because chocolate tours around Morton are back. On Saturday, February 6th, the day before the Super Bowl, shop Morton for your chocolate cravings and gift ideas for Valentine's Day. Gotta keep the lady happy. 430 Scones will be offering fun 430 scone boxes, and the Morton Cinema will be hosting a Be My Valentine vendor show from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. with tons of great vendors who will be on site for your Valentine's Day shopping. Head on over to Discover Peoria's event page for all the info because the hours will vary by the business.
Do you think that they will have honey at this Be
My Valentine? Maybe. I'm not a big honey guy, though. I'll be honest.
No,
My dad,
the
my
wifey
dad and
like
sister are obsessed. Not a big honey guy.
the wifey likes honey in her tea.
Well, then come on down, Bruce.
No, I'm good. I'm
Okay,
good.
Bruce.
I barely.
Yeah, we'll get into Super Bowl next week because we have plenty of time.
Yes.
There's another week.
Yes.
Any closing comments?
Closing comments. Congratulations to you on. No, that's not gonna work. I don't even know why I'm saying congratulations. I need sleep. But congratulations to us because we're affiliated.
Yes, we are. You'll be asleep. I'll have to work on that tonight.
Oh, I'll be knocked out, dude.
Yeah.
Like I have my puppies right next to me right now. Hi guys. They're yelling at me to take them out and everything. So, but yeah, good stuff. Awesome job, Ray. Thank you so much for jumping on with us. Great stories. MJ, until next time.
Till next time, Bruce. Folks, we will see you next Thursday with somebody on the show to entertain you.
Hey, make sure you run the outro.